The morning bell rang, and students rushed across the schoolyard, filling the air with chatter and laughter. Among them walked Sofia, a shy girl who had just transferred from another town. She clutched her worn backpack tightly against her chest, trying to blend into the crowd. Her uniform was neat but slightly faded, and her shoes looked older than most. She kept her head low, hoping no one would notice her nervousness. But in a new school, being invisible was almost impossible. Across the yard, a group of older kids leaned against the water hose used for gardening. They were known troublemakers, loud, arrogant, and always looking for someone weaker to pick on. Their leader, Brenda, spotted Sofia immediately. She smirked and nudged her friends. "Look, fresh meat," Brenda sneered. "She looks like she just stepped out of a charity shop. Watch this." The others laughed, their eyes narrowing on Sofia, who had no idea trouble was about to find her. Sofia tried to sit quietly on a bench near the edge of the yard, opening her lunchbox. Just as she took out her sandwich, a loud shout echoed behind her. "Hey, new girl, you thirsty?" Before she could respond, a sudden blast of cold water hit her back, drenching her completely. Her sandwich slipped from her hands, landing in the mud. Gasps and laughter filled the air as Brenda and her friends aimed the hose directly at her, soaking her uniform until it clung uncomfortably to her skin. The water pressure pushed Sofia off the bench, making her stumble. She wrapped her arms around herself, shivering, her cheeks burning with humiliation. A crowd of students gathered, some laughing, some whispering uncomfortably. "Ah, poor thing. Did the princess forget her umbrella?" Brenda mocked, tossing her hair back with exaggerated pride. Sofia's lips trembled, but she stayed silent. Her silence only seemed to make the bullies stronger, as they laughed louder and called her names. At that moment, many kids expected Sofia to cry or run away. But she didn't. Something inside her snapped, not with anger, but with courage. Sofia slowly stood up, water dripping from her clothes. Her hair clung to her face, but her eyes, calm and steady, locked on Brenda. The laughter around her grew quieter as people noticed her expression. She bent down, picked up her muddy sandwich, and instead of crying, she smiled faintly. Then, she walked right up to Brenda, standing inches away from the girl who had just humiliated her. "Is this all you have?" Sofia asked softly, but firmly. The yard fell silent. No one expected her to speak, let alone challenge the queen of bullies. Brenda blinked, taken aback, then tried to recover with a laugh. "Oh, she's got a mouth," Brenda said, but her voice wavered. Sofia tilted her head, her voice steady and clear now. "You think drenching me makes you stronger. But it doesn't. It only shows how weak you are, that you need a hose, your friends, and a crowd to feel powerful. I only needed myself to stand here." The crowd gasped. Brenda's smirk faltered. For a moment, no one moved. Then, Sofia did something no one expected. She stepped back, raised her arms wide, and shouted loud enough for the entire yard to hear. "Go on, Brenda, spray me again. Show everyone how proud you are of bullying the new kid." Her voice rang with boldness. Kids who had been laughing now looked uneasy, some even nodding at Sofia's bravery. The pressure shifted. The bullies, who had been feeding on the crowd's laughter, suddenly realized they were losing their audience. Brenda gripped the hose tighter, but her hand shook. She turned to her friends for support, but they avoided her eyes. The crowd wasn't laughing anymore. Some students even started whispering, "She's right. Brenda's a coward." Brenda's face turned red. She tried to spray the hose again, but this time, no one laughed. Instead, a teacher's voice boomed across the yard. "What is going on here?" The teacher marched forward, eyes sharp, and immediately turned off the water supply. She ordered Brenda and her friends to the principal's office, their faces pale with embarrassment. The crowd quickly dispersed, whispering about what had just happened. Sofia stood quietly, dripping wet, but her head was high. The teacher placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You handled yourself with dignity, Sofia. I'm proud of you. Let's get you a clean uniform." As they walked toward the building, several students approached Sofia, some offering their jackets, others giving her encouraging smiles. One girl whispered, "That was amazing. You didn't let them win." Sofia simply smiled, warmth filling her chest. For the first time since she arrived, she didn't feel alone. The next day, when Sofia entered the schoolyard, something was different. Students waved at her, some even sitting beside her during lunch. The story of her bravery had spread, and Brenda's reputation as the toughest girl in school was gone. Sofia didn't seek revenge or hold grudges. Instead, she carried herself with quiet confidence, teaching everyone that true strength isn't about fighting back with fists, but with courage, dignity, and words. And as for Brenda and her gang, they kept their distance. The look in Sofia's calm, unwavering eyes had been enough to make them realize they could no longer control her with fear. From that day forward, whenever someone talked about courage in the face of cruelty, they remembered the drenched girl who stood tall, smiled through humiliation, and turned the bullies' laughter into silence.